They won't drop bombs on your city. They won't march into your home. But they will take your focus, your discipline, your fire. And if you let them, you'll surrender without a single shot. The mental war you must win begins here. Look at your hand. Is there a device in it? A glowing screen constantly demanding your attention? Endless scroll. The fleeting notifications. You check it 96 times a day, sometimes more. Not for vital intelligence, but for vapid validation. A fleeting like, a shallow comment, a digital pat on the back. This isn't connection. It's a desperate plea for external approval. You crave the sugar rush of immediate attention, and you pay for it with your attention span, your focus, your very will. This weakness festers. You face a difficult task at work, a challenging conversation, a demanding workout. What is your first instinct? To delay, to seek comfort, to choose the path of least resistance. You opt for the easy meal, the mindless entertainment, the avoidance of any genuine discomfort. This isn't peace, it's surrender. You allow your muscles to atrophy, your mind to dull, your spirit to shrink, all in the name of a fleeting moment of ease. You have an idea, a bold plan, something that could genuinely change your life, or your team, or your company. But the fear creeps in. What if they laugh? What if you fail? So you shrink it, you dilute it, or worse, you never even begin. You let the phantom criticisms of others dictate your potential. You choose the comfortable anonymity of the crowd over the glorious risk of leadership. During my earliest political campaigns, long before the war, critics called me a maverick, a turncoat. They mocked my early ambition, my so-called adventurism. They whispered about my failures. They delighted in every stumble. The easy path would have been to conform, to soften my edges, to seek their fleeting approval. But true strength is not forged in the acceptance of others. It is forged in defiance of weakness. Stop seeking comfort in the digital abyss. Start seeking discipline. Put the device down. Schedule its use. When you feel that twitch, that urge to scroll, replace it with a productive action, a short burst of work, a moment of focused thought, a deliberate step towards a difficult goal. Your phone is not your master, it is a tool. Master it, or it will master you. Recognize that feeling of resistance, that urge to retreat from difficulty. That is precisely where your growth lies. When you want to choose ease, choose the harder path. When you want to quit, do one more. This isn't about punishment, it's about forging an inner steel. It's about training your mind to welcome the struggle, to see it as the gym for your spirit. If you continue down this path of modern weakness, you become the man who complains about his unfulfilling job for 20 years. You become the woman who laments her missed opportunities, her unlived life. You become soft. You become irrelevant. But if you seize control, if you embrace the discomfort, you become indomitable. You become the master of your own destiny, capable of weathering any storm. This is happening to you right now. Every day you wait, you get weaker. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Your phone is your weakness if you let it be your master. True strength is forged in defiance of ease. The man who seeks ease finds weakness. Look at your life. Are you merely existing, or are you truly living? You were not born for ease. You were born for greatness. You have settled. You have a comfortable job, a predictable routine, a life free from significant challenge. You tell yourself this is success. But deep down, you feel the rust of stagnation. You sense the erosion of your true potential. You know you are capable of more, but the inertia of comfort holds you captive. You have traded your ambition for a quiet, slow decay. Decision defines your future. An opportunity arises, a chance to step into a leadership role, to start that business, to move to a new city. Your heart pounds, not with excitement, but with fear. The unknown looms large, filled with imagined obstacles and potential failures. You retreat, rationalizing your inaction with excuses. You choose the familiar cage over the unpredictable frontier. You drift through your days, performing tasks, consuming content, but lacking a clear, compelling purpose. You seek fleeting distractions to fill the void, rather than confronting the emptiness that yearns for a grander mission. You are a ship without a compass, adrift in a sea of triviality. Your competitors are getting stronger while you seek comfort. They called my early years in politics wilderness years. Out of power, often ridiculed, I spent those decades preparing, not for comfort, but for conflict. I studied history, wrote, traveled, spoke, honed my arguments, and learned the bitter lessons of public life. Many saw a man sidelined. I saw a man forging the instruments of his future war. When Hitler's shadow fell across Europe, when the defeatists sought an easy peace, I did not hesitate. I stood alone against the tide of appeasement. I offered the British people not comfort, but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. I called them to a greatness they barely believed they possessed. I called them to fight, not to surrender their destiny. What is your war? What great challenge lies before you, demanding your utmost? It might be mastering a skill, building a business, or leading a team. Identify it. Name it. Stop drifting. Set a course. Your greatest battles are not fought against others, but against the apathy and fear within yourself. When faced with a choice, consciously choose the more challenging option. This is not about being reckless, but about building resilience. Take on the project no one else wants. Learn the difficult skill. Confront the uncomfortable truth. Every time you choose the hard path, you are building the muscles of greatness. You are preparing for your own finest hour. If you ignore this call, you become a footnote in your own life. You will look back with the bitter taste of regret, knowing you never truly tested your limits. Your potential will remain a ghost, haunting your quiet moments. But if you answer the call, if you embrace the struggle, you will discover reserves of strength you never knew you possessed. You will forge a life of purpose, a legacy of impact. You will not merely exist, you will command your existence. Time is running out. You were not born for ease. You were born for greatness. Your greatest battles are fought within. Stop settling for comfort. Start fighting for purpose. The call to greatness demands courage, not convenience. There is a heavy cost for choosing the path of least resistance. A debt you are already paying. This happening to you right now. You observe your peers advancing, seizing promotions, tackling ambitious projects. Meanwhile, you remain stuck, doing the bare minimum, avoiding responsibility. You rationalize it, but good enough is a slow-person. Your skills become obsolete. Your enthusiasm drains. You become the man or woman whose best years are behind them, not ahead. This isn't stability, it's a slow decay. You constantly compromise your truth, avoid difficult conversations, and suppress your true desires to keep the peace in your relationships. You seek validation from others, fearing their disapproval more than you value your own integrity. But peace bought at the price of authenticity is not peace at all. It is a breeding ground for resentment, for unspoken truths that erode trust and passion. You become a shadow of yourself, unfulfilled and unheard. You neglect your body, indulging in poor habits, avoiding exercise. You allow your mind to be dulled by constant distraction and superficial information, never truly engaging in deep thought or rigorous learning. Your physical strength wanes. Your mental acuity diminishes. You feel tired, unfocused, incapable of sustaining effort. This isn't rest. It's a self-inflicted decline into frailty. Before the war, when I spoke of the gathering storm, many preferred to ignore the truth. They chose comfort. They chose appeasement. They said I was a warmonger, an alarmist. They feared conflict more than they feared its consequences. The price of that mediocrity, that wishful thinking, was astronomical, a world plunged into the most terrible war, millions of lives lost, nations enslaved. They sought peace in their time, and they brought about the greatest conflagration in history. They chose ease, and they got utter devastation. The price of their inaction was paid in blood and ashes. Stop inventing reasons why you can't. Stop blaming circumstances. Your excuses are chains. Break them. Look directly at the uncomfortable truths about your life, your habits, your unfulfilled potential. This honest confrontation is the first step towards liberty. Choose one area where you are currently choosing ease and deliberately inject discomfort. Go to the gym when you don't feel like it. Have that difficult conversation. Dedicate an hour to focus, demanding work without distraction. Each act of productive discomfort is a blow against the creeping mediocrity. Do this instead. The man who consistently chooses mediocrity will find his life shrinking, his influence fading, his regrets multiplying. You become the forgotten one, the one who never truly lived, merely existed. Your legacy will be one of missed opportunities, a quiet despair. But if you reject this insidious pull, if you choose the difficult, demanding path, you will forge a life of vibrant purpose, genuine respect, and profound accomplishment. You will leave a mark. You will know the deep satisfaction of a life truly lived. Every day you wait, you get weaker. Mediocrity is a slow, self-inflicted death. Your excuses are chains. Break them. The price of comfort is a life of regret. Act now or pay forever. You crave mastery but chase fleeting trends. You seek success, yet neglect the very bedrock it stands upon. True strength is not built on novelty. It is forged on ancient, immutable principles. You jump from one self-help guru to another, one business strategy to the next, one diet fad to the latest exercise craze. You consume endless content, seeking the secret or the hack. But you rarely commit to the foundational work. You spend hours researching the perfect routine, but never actually stick to any routine for more than a few weeks. You are a collector of information, not a practitioner of wisdom. This superficial approach leaves you feeling perpetually unfulfilled and always starting over. When faced with a complex problem, your instinct is to seek the fastest, easiest solution. You avoid the deep dive, the rigorous analysis, the patient observation required for true understanding. You rely on quick answers from the internet rather than developing your own capacity for critical thought. You avoid the hard fundamental skills, reading deeply, writing clearly, thinking independently. You believe technology will solve your problems while your own mental muscles atrophy. This is happening to you right now. In your relationships, you seek immediate gratification and avoid the painstaking work of true connection. You prioritize likes over genuine conversation, superficial agreement over honest dialogue. You allow convenience to dictate your commitments, abandoning projects or people when they become difficult. You have no clear moral compass, shifting your values based on external pressure or momentary comfort. You are a ship without a rudder, adrift in a sea of shifting winds. During my wilderness years, when many thought my career was over, I did not chase the ephemeral popularity of the day. I immersed myself in history, in the grand sweep of human endeavor and the eternal recurrence of human folly. I studied the rise and fall of empires, the strategies of great leaders, the unchanging principles of courage, duty, and sacrifice. I wrote volumes not to please the critics, but to distill truth. I knew that the shifting sands of public opinion would never provide a foundation for leadership, only bedrock principles. Honesty, courage, resilience, a profound understanding of human nature could endure. When the storm came, I did not invent a new philosophy. I invoked the ancient principles of freedom and defiance that had guided our people for centuries. I stood on the shoulders of giants. Stop seeking the latest shortcut. Start seeking the eternal truths. Identify your core principles. What do you truly believe in? What values will guide your decisions, even when it is uncomfortable? Write them down. Commit to them. This is not an intellectual exercise. It is a declaration of war against the fleeting and the false. When confronting a challenge, resist the urge for instant solutions. Instead, dig deep. Understand the fundamental mechanics. Master the basics. Whether it's the grammar of your language, the core equations of your field, or the fundamental movements of your chosen sport. Dedicate time each day to foundational learning, not just consumption of trivia. This is about building a robust internal architecture, not a flimsy facade. Do this instead. Cultivate a long-term mindset. True growth is a marathon, not a sprint. Every decision, every action should be evaluated against your core principles and your long-term vision, not just immediate comfort or gratification. Commit to consistency over intensity. 1 hour of focused, deliberate effort every day is more powerful than 10 hours of frantic, unfocused work once a month. This is how you build an unbreakable will. If you continue to chase fleeting trends and neglect the ancient principles, you will remain perpetually reactive, tossed about by every new gust of wind. You will never build anything of lasting value, for your foundation will be sand. Your life will be a series of starts and stops, never reaching its true potential. You will be a ship forever seeking port, but never knowing its destination. But if you embrace the ancient principles, if you root yourself in the timeless wisdom of resilience, integrity, and disciplined effort, you will become an immovable force. You will stand tall when others falter. You will possess the clarity of purpose that guides true leaders. You will build a life not just for today, but for generations. You will know the deep satisfaction of a life forged with purpose and principles. Your foundation will be rock. Principles are your bedrock in the storm. Master the fundamentals. Mastery is not an accident. Build to last, not to impress. Consistency conquers chaos. You crave victory, but recoil from the fight. You seek strength, yet shrink from the very fires that forge it. Adversity is not an obstacle to be avoided. It is the crucible in which your true power is revealed. This is happening to you right now. You receive critical feedback at work, a challenging email, or a negative comment online. Your first instinct is to become defensive, to rationalize, to blame, or to retreat into self-pity. You internalize the criticism as a personal attack rather than seeing it as a potential source of growth. You avoid exposing yourself to situations where you might be judged or found lacking. You prefer the fragile echo chamber of agreement, where your ego is safe but your potential is stifled. You attempt a new venture, a difficult project, or a demanding physical challenge. You encounter setbacks, a failed negotiation, a missed deadline, a physical injury. Instead of seeing these as valuable data points, you interpret them as definitive proof of your inadequacy. You quit. You abandon the pursuit. You return to the comfortable, predictable routines that guarantee neither failure nor success. Your fear of defeat is stronger than your desire to win. You face a period of intense pressure, a looming deadline, a financial crisis, a personal conflict. Your mind becomes a whirlwind of anxiety. You lose sleep. You become irritable. You feel overwhelmed and paralyzed, unable to think clearly or act decisively. You fantasize about escape, about the pressure simply disappearing, rather than focusing on how to systematically dismantle the challenge. You are unprepared for the storm. After the disastrous Dardanelles campaign in World War I, my career lay in ruins. I was blamed, dismissed, and ridiculed. Many would have retreated, sought a quiet life, faded into obscurity. But I did not. I rejoined the army and served on the Western Front, facing the enemy directly. I learned lessons from the mud, from the trenches, from the constant threat of death. I absorbed the criticism, understood the flaws, and rebuilt my resolve. Then, in the wilderness years, when I warned endlessly about Hitler's rise, I faced relentless scorn, accusations of warmongering, and political isolation. The easy path was to conform, to appease, to soften my warnings. But the pressure, the criticism, the constant testing, it only hardened my resolve. It proved my convictions. When the war came, when bombs rained on London and defeat loomed, I did not falter. I had been forged in the crucible of public contempt and personal failure. I understood that true leadership is tested not in peacetime, but in the greatest storms. I had faced immense pressure for decades, and it had not broken me, it had prepared me. Stop fearing criticism. Start extracting its lessons. When someone criticizes you, listen. Distinguish between valid points and baseless noise. If there is truth in their words, absorb it, learn from it, and improve. If there is only malice, dismiss it. Do not internalize the venom, but use the pressure to refine your edges. Your detractors are often your involuntary coaches. Embrace failure as your most brutal, but most effective teacher. Every mistake contains a lesson. Stop seeing failure as the end. See it as necessary data. Analyze what went wrong, adapt your approach, and try again. The only true failure is the failure to learn, the failure to persist. The man who learns from defeat is truly unconquerable. Do this instead. When pressure mounts, do not crumble. Instead, focus your mind like a laser. Break down the overwhelming challenge into its smallest, most manageable components. Act decisively on the first piece, then the next, and the next. Train your mind to thrive under stress, to see chaos not as a threat, but as an opportunity for strategic action. This is where leaders are born. If you continue to shrink from the crucible of testing, you will remain forever untested, forever brittle. You will live a life defined by avoidance. Your potential locked away behind a wall of fear. You will never know the exhilarating satisfaction of overcoming impossible odds, of emerging stronger from the fire. Your life will be one of quiet fragility, easily shattered by the smallest storm. But if you consciously step into the fire, if you welcome the challenges, the criticisms, the setbacks, you will become a force of nature. You will develop an unbreakable resilience, a mind that thrives under pressure, and a spirit that cannot be extinguished. You will become the kind of person who not only survives the storm, but learns to command it. You will not merely endure, you will prevail. You will discover the true power of your own unconquerable will. Adversity is your greatest teacher. The easy way makes weak men. Failure is fuel for your triumph. Strength is forged in the fire. You have grand ambitions, but your days are a chaotic mess. You speak of willpower, but your actions betray your intentions. Willpower is not enough. You need relentless, unyielding discipline. This is happening to you right now. You set ambitious goals, to start a business, to write a book, to get in shape. But your daily routine is inconsistent. You rely on bursts of motivation, which quickly fade. You say you will work out tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes consistently. You intend to focus on that important project, but you get sidetracked by emails, notifications, and irrelevant tasks. Your good intentions are a graveyard of unfulfilled promises because you lack the daily scaffolding of discipline. You find yourself constantly distracted by the trivial. Your phone buzzes and you check it. An interesting article appears and you read it. You start a task, but then switch to another and another, never fully completing anything of substance. Your attention span is fractured, your ability to focus deeply eroded. You mistake busyness for productivity and constant consumption for meaningful action. You are a slave to every external stimulus. You struggle with immediate gratification. The unhealthy snack is too tempting. The extra hour of sleep too appealing. The easy entertainment too accessible. You know what you should do, but you consistently choose what feels good right now. This constant capitulation to fleeting desires prevents you from building momentum, from achieving compound growth in your skills, your body and your finances. Your cravings dictate your destiny. My life was a testament to relentless discipline. From my early days as a young officer in India, where I devoured books and honed my writing, to the relentless pace of my wartime premiership, I structured my days with a rigid intensity. I often worked through the night, dictating speeches, writing dispatches, making critical decisions. I knew that inspiration was fleeting, but consistent effort was the anvil upon which destiny was forged. I had my routines, the morning papers, the morning bath, the careful planning of my day. I did not wait for motivation. I commanded my actions. Even in the darkest days of the Blitz, while London burned, I maintained my schedule, my speeches, my focus. I understood that chaos outside demanded iron discipline within. It was not genius alone that won the war. It was the ceaseless, methodical, disciplined application of every ounce of energy. Stop waiting for motivation. Start building systems. Identify 2-3 non-negotiable actions that move you towards your most important goals every single day. These are your keystone habits. It might be 30 minutes of focused work on your primary project, 20 minutes of intense physical exercise, or 15 minutes of deep learning. Do these actions first before anything else, regardless of how you feel. Do not negotiate with yourself. Do this instead. Tame your attention. Create environments free from distraction. Turn off notifications. Schedule specific blocks of time for deep, focused work and protect them fiercely. When your mind wanders, gently but firmly bring it back to the task at hand. This is not about brute force willpower, but about systematically building new neural pathways, training your brain for sustained focus. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Guard it like a fortress. Embrace delayed gratification. Every time you choose the harder, more beneficial long-term option over the immediate pleasure, you are reinforcing your discipline. When you crave the junk food, choose the healthy meal. When you want to scroll, choose to read a book or work on a skill. This is how you reclaim control from your impulses. This is how you become the master of your own destiny, not its victim. If you continue to live by whim and impulse, your life will remain chaotic, your potential scattered like dust in the wind. You will be forever reacting, never truly creating. Your goals will remain distant mirages because you lack the daily rigor to bridge the gap between intention and accomplishment. You will be a slave to every passing desire, forever building sandcastles that crumble with the slightest tide. But if you embrace the warrior's discipline, if you meticulously build your daily habits, if you ruthlessly protect your focus, you will unlock an unstoppable force within yourself. You will achieve momentum that carries you through challenges. You will command your time, your energy, and your future. You will become the architect of your own destiny, capable of building anything you set your mind to. Your life will become a masterpiece of purpose and power. Discipline is not a restriction, it is the path to freedom. Discipline is not a restriction, it is the path to mastery. Build your fortress daily, brick by brick. Consistency conquers chaos every single time. Your habits define your destiny. You have endured the crucible. You have embraced the discipline. Now, the final stage, the emergence of your true power. This power is not loud, it is undeniable. It is silent dominance. You have witnessed it. The man who constantly talks about his achievements, his grand plans, his struggles, his hustle. He posts every workout, every win, every small victory online. He seeks validation for every step, every breath. But when the moment of truth arrives, when real action is demanded, his words are hollow. His boasts evaporate. He is all bark and no bite, a performer, not a doer. He chases external praise, and in doing so, reveals his deep-seated insecurity. This constant need for applause diminishes his actual presence. You find yourself in conversations where you feel the need to explain, to justify, to seek approval. You adjust your opinions to fit the room. You laugh at jokes you don't find funny. You nod in agreement when you disagree. You fear offending, fearing conflict more than you value your own truth. This people-pleasing reflex strips you of your authentic power. You become invisible, easily dismissed, a background character in your own life, because you refuse to occupy your rightful space. When confronted with a decision, you hesitate. When a challenge arises, you shrink from the spotlight. When a conflict appears, you retreat. You avoid taking a firm stand, preferring to remain uncommitted, unnoticed. This absence of presence, this lack of decisive action, is itself a statement. It signals weakness. It tells the world you are not someone to be taken seriously, not someone who commands respect. You are losing opportunities because your quietness is perceived as fragility, not strength. When I spoke to the nation, especially during the darkest days of the war, I did not waste time with endless explanations or justifications. I spoke with clarity, with resolve, and with an unshakable belief in our ultimate victory. There was no need to boast. The actions spoke for themselves. The fighter planes in the sky, the convoys crossing the Atlantic, the sheer defiance of a nation under siege, these were our statements. My power did not come from seeking approval. It came from an absolute conviction forged in decades of preparation and a refusal to yield. When Paris fell, when the world believed Britain was next, I did not explain our strategy in detail to every critic. I stood before Parliament and declared, we shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. My authority was not debated. It was felt. It was an authority built on action, on steadfastness, on a quiet, implacable will. It was silent dominance. Stop seeking validation. Start embodying competence. Your words mean little if your actions do not speak louder. Do the work. Achieve results. Let your accomplishments be your only advertisement. When you have truly done the difficult, meaningful work, you do not need to announce it. People will see. They will feel your power. Focus your energy on production, not promotion. Cultivate a commanding presence through deliberate action, not noisy declarations. When you speak, speak clearly and concisely, with conviction. Mean what you say and say what you mean. When you listen, listen intently, giving the speaker your full. Undivided attention is your power. When you move, move with purpose. Stand tall, look people in the eye. These seemingly small behaviors accumulate into an aura of undeniable authority. Do this instead. Embrace the power of strategic silence. Not every thought needs to be voiced. Not every comment needs a response. Sometimes, the most powerful statement is no statement at all. When you choose silence, you conserve your energy, you force others to fill the void, and you project an unshakable inner calm. This is not about being aloof. It is about being deliberate. Let your presence command respect rather than your words demanding attention. If you continue to seek external validation, to over-explain yourself, to shrink from confrontation, you will remain a perpetual follower, easily swayed, easily dismissed. Your voice will be lost in the noise, and your potential will never be fully realized because you lack the gravitas to lead. You will be seen as someone who lacks substance, who is easily overlooked. You will be defined by others, not by yourself. But if you embrace silent dominance, if you let your actions speak for themselves, if you cultivate a calm, unwavering presence, you will become a true force. Your words will carry weight. Your opinions will be sought. You will command respect not through bluster, but through quiet, undeniable strength. You will influence others without needing to control them. You will become the person who others look to in times of crisis, the rock in the storm. This is the emergence of a true leader. Strength is built in silence, not on social media. You don't need their approval. You need your own respect. True power speaks in actions, not boasts. Command attention by deserving it. You have fought the internal war. You have forged your spirit in fire. You have emerged dominant. Now look beyond yourself. What will you leave behind? The ultimate triumph is not merely self-mastery, but the enduring legacy of your strength. You live day to day, focused on immediate gratifications and short-term wins. Your decisions are based on what feels good now, what is easiest today, what brings instant comfort. You rarely consider the long-term ripple effects of your choices on your career, your relationships, or your health. You accumulate possessions, experiences, and fleeting moments. But you fail to build anything of lasting value that transcends your own lifetime. You are creating a life that will vanish as quickly as it was lived. You rarely think about the impact you have on others, the lessons you might impart, or the standards you set. You focus inward, consumed by your own challenges and desires. You fail to see yourself as part of a larger continuum, a link in the chain of humanity. You isolate yourself, not realizing that true strength often lies in uplifting those around you, in building something greater than individual success. You are denying your profound capacity to inspire and elevate. You avoid the difficult conversations about your ultimate purpose, your values, and what truly matters beyond the fleeting present. You shy away from defining your life's meaning, preferring to drift along, letting circumstances dictate your path. This lack of a guiding vision means your immense strength, once forged, lacks a true direction for its fullest expression. You become powerful but without a grand objective. a ship of war without a clear destination. When I looked at the dark days of 1940, with Britain standing alone against Nazi Germany, I was not merely fighting for today. I was fighting for generations unborn. I was fighting for the very idea of freedom, for civilization itself. I understood that the struggle, the immense sacrifice, was not just for the survival of one nation, but for the legacy of liberty that would define the future. I constantly reminded my people of their history, of the great figures who had come before us, and of the profound duty we had to those who would follow. My words, my actions, my very being were aimed at securing a future that would honor the past. I sought to leave a legacy not of personal glory, but of a world where courage and freedom could still prevail. I understood that the fight for today was always a fight for all our tomorrows. Define your legacy. What mark do you want to leave on the world, however small or grand? What principles do you want to embody that will inspire those who come after you? This isn't about vanity, it's about purpose. Live your life as if every action, every decision, every word is contributing to the story you want to tell, the values you want to instill, the world you want to build. This vision will act as your ultimate compass. Make your decisions not for comfort, but for consequence. Before you act, ask yourself, does this decision align with the legacy I wish to leave? Will this choice elevate me, those around me, or the principles I stand for? Train yourself to project forward, to see the long-term impact of your immediate choices. This foresight is the hallmark of true leadership, the ability to sacrifice today for a greater tomorrow. Do this instead. Invest in others. Mentor someone. Teach what you have learned. Build institutions, systems, or relationships that will outlive you. Your strength is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to be shared, to be amplified. Contribute to something larger than yourself. This is how your influence extends far beyond your immediate sphere. How your personal triumph becomes a collective victory. This is how you ensure that your fight truly matters. If you neglect your legacy, if you live only for the present, your life, no matter how powerful in its moment, will be a fleeting whisper. You will be forgotten. Your struggles, your victories, your unique spirit will vanish without a trace. You will have lived a life of isolated strength, never fully realizing its profound potential to shape the world beyond yourself. You will leave behind nothing but the echoes of your own existence. But if you embrace the legacy of strength, if you consciously fight not just for yourself, but for a future you envision, you will achieve true immortality. Your actions will resonate through generations. You will become a source of inspiration, a standard of excellence, a testament to the unconquerable human spirit. Your life will not merely be lived, it will be a monument. You will know the profound satisfaction of a life truly lived, one that echoes with purpose far beyond your final breath. The time is now. Fight not just for today, but for all your tomorrows. Your life is your legacy. Fight not just for today, but for all your tomorrows. Leave a mark. Do not simply exist. The only true regret is the life unlived.